Hello, my friends. I'm so excited you are joining me today for another Assemble This video. I have two cards to share with you today. I'll go through my process of Copic coloring, and once that's done, we'll go ahead and assemble these cards with their pretty layouts. I'm featuring the January 2022 Blooming Blessings Sentiment Kit from Unity Stamp Company. Just love this pretty floral bouquet and then all the variety of sentiments to choose from, both for spring and all year round. I've already stamped out my image using some Copic friendly ink. I usually use Gina K Amalgam or Memento ink. And I'm also using my go-to Nina 80-pound Solar White cardstock as well. I'm starting out by doing the tiger lilies in this image. I was just really drawn to them first. So I pulled out a variety of yellow and then one orange color marker. And I'm just going to be coloring the tips starting of the flowers. That way I can make those the darkest and then I can slowly pull that color into the center. I do like the idea of the center of the flower being lighter, so I'm going to keep that fairly light, maybe even keeping some of the white from the cardstock at the center, and then just really focusing on the vibrancy and the deepening of the colors along the edge of the petals towards the tip. I started out with my kind of medium colored yellow and then blended that with my lighter color and then went in again with a darker color of yellow and then blended that out with my lighter color, and then I'm going in with my orange to really kind of deepen the edge of the petal, and then I'm using that orange color as well to color the stamen of the flower, and then also the dots that you see on the tiger lilies. I'm calling these tiger lilies. I don't know if they're tiger lilies. The other one I saw that they were called were oriental lilies. Um, so that was, I just kind of looked up how these lilies might look in nature. Though I did pick the colors on my own. I don't know if they have yellow ones or not. Next, I moved over to this mum image, and I'm going to color this in a variety of reds. And again, I'm starting with my darkest color just at the tip. I'm going to follow the same type of method I did with the lilies, keeping the tip of the flower darker, so it's kind of creating an ombre look, so it'll be lighter towards the center of the flower. Once I went around with the darkest red, I kind of blended that out slightly with the second darkest red, and then I'm coming in with my medium light shade and just pulling that down. I like to use a flicking motion that kind of creates the variance and the way to pull the color down towards the center of the petal. And then I'm just going to blend everything out with my lightest pink and then come into the center, and I'm using my darkest red to kind of dot around the center of the image and then blend that out just a smidge. And then I'll come in with a bit of brown and kind of dot around that as well, kind of deepen that red center of the flower. And then I'll go over just one more time to really kind of deepen and create more of a shadow around the edge of the flowers. I like with Copic coloring, I'll do one round of coloring, and then once it's done, I'll come in with some of the darker shades and just deepen everything up just to get that contrast of shadow. Now these little fluffy flowers, I don't know what they're called. I'm using a variety of kind of a pinkish purple color. And I started out again with the darkest color, just kind of going around the edge and then coming in with the lightest color. And then at the end, I'll just use my medium color to kind of blend those two together. These were super easy to color. They blended really easily. And then finally, I'm going to focus on the florals. I'm just using one set of greens. I'm not going to make this complicated on myself, so I just grabbed 4 green colors, and I'm going to use them all in variants of light and dark to color each different type of leaf. So here I just started with these larger leaves, And I went in with my second darkest green and then kind of blended that out with a lighter green, and then going in one more time, kind of creating the veins or the kind of texture of the leaf by starting at the center of the leaf and then flicking out the color towards the edge. Next, I'm going to come in with my darker color of green for these leaves hiding under the lilies, and just kind of doing a two-tone effect, but keeping it fairly dark. Now for these leaves behind the mum, I'm going to do the same type of effect I did with the flowers, where the tips are a bit darker and then the center of the leaves I'll try to keep lighter. So I'm focusing the dark green color on the tips, and then I'll use my medium and lighter greens to kind of pull that into the center of the image. Again, I'm using that flicking motion. When I start the motion, it's a bit more pressure, and then I lighten as I flick, and that'll kind of create a line to pull the color into the center of the leaf. So once everything was dried, here I am going in one more time just to create a little bit more depth. I'm still using the same colors I used before, but by going over that previous dried image, it kind of builds up the color and creates more shading. And here I'm just going behind all the flowers where it might be darkest and adding some of that dark green to create a shadow so those flowers pop against the leaves. Kind of looks like they're sitting in front of them, so right below where they are sitting, we want it to be darker so you create that shading dimension. And here's the finished look. I love the rich colors. They're kind of autumnish, but still a nice transition from winter into spring. So I like the deep, rich colors that I went with for these bouquets. I just noticed the fabulous coloring job I did to the side of my hand. That's what I get for coloring with my pens uncapped. Next, I did a bit of hot foiling. I'm using some craft cardstock, and I just taped my die down over my foil, making sure that the shiny, pretty side of the foil is touching my die and the dull silver side is touching the cardstock. I ran that through my glimmer machine and then pulled that off and ran it slowly through my die cutting machine, once in the forward direction and then once in the backwards direction. And then I just love the shine that that creates on the background of our card. I did save that piece. I don't know what I'll use it for, but I do keep all my scraps, and that way I can foil for later. I did a second image with just the dots, and now I'm just going to die cut down the panel for the card with the lines, and then I fussy cut out the bouquet for the card with the dots. And then for this one, I have a sentiment from In My Thoughts Girl, the happy birthday from that, and I stamped that down on the bottom panel of the card. And then I'm just gluing everything together. I glued the craft in gold panel straight down to my card front, and then I'm popping up the center panel with some foam adhesive. Just super simple layers, and actually a really simple card in the end. For the other one, I die cut it with a scallop stitch die and glued that directly down onto the card. And then I'm just going to pop up the fussy cut bouquet, kind of have it at an angle. I like that. And then I had two sentiments. I wasn't sure which one I liked, which length would fit, so I ended up going with the one that says A Special Prayer for You. And I'm just going to trim that down to the size I think will look nice on the card. And then once I did that, I'm going to notch out either side. I just make a small slice into the edge of the strip of paper and then cut from end to end. This way I can control the size of that banner notch. Sometimes I like them deeper, sometimes I like them more shallow. So I like to create my own banners. There are die cuts that can do this for you, but this way I have a bit more control. And then I just pop that up on the card front. So here are our finished cards. I just love the way the cutout flowers pop against that craft and gold foiled background. The warm and rich colors just look so comforting. And for the second card, the white panel is the perfect frame for the flowers and sentiment. You just get a peek of all that gorgeous gold foil from behind. I'll have all my supplies linked in the description of this video. And of course, if you have any questions or a sweet comment, post below. Thank you so much for creating with me. I hope you were inspired, and I'll see you next time. Bye.